Previously on Quarantine D&D.
Tens of thousands of voices cry out in terror as the island begins to rapidly lose altitude until it plummets into the ocean. Gone.
Let's play some D&D Quarantine D&D. Let's make some memories.
The waves smash into the loose rock and it plummets into the sea, fading from view in less than a minute. You hear screams of terror from all around the island. Outside the cafeteria, the staff has their hands over their mouths. The door slams open. Daruk stands, tying his belt hastily onto his waist, looking for his sword, which he left outside the cafeteria. Champions, we need to move now to the Emperor. And you all race away. You don't know what's going on, but by now, crowds are starting to gather in the streets. Panic has overtaken the market. The Groznak are trying to hold people back from the governor's office as you race down the streets to the Imperial Palace. As you get there, you notice that most of the Groznak, which would be normally stationed in the palace, have left. You don't know for what, but Groznak leads you straight through the training grounds, straight through the courtyard, and into the throne room, where atop the throne is the Dragonkin Emperor, the Emperor in the sky. Daruk races halfway to the throne room, the four of you following close behind, and then he holds up his hand and he kneels. So after each of you take a brief bow to the Emperor, he motions you to come forward. I recognize that you have many questions, young ones. I don't have answers for you. What I do have is a mission. You know that 6 months ago the champions left. That was because the font, the magical fonts, which are all interconnected, shrunk. And just now it shrunk again. I do not know why, but obviously the consequence is that if it shrinks too much, our islands will fall from the sky, and everyone who's chosen to ascend to the heavens will come crashing back down to Earth. As there is no way to control the fonts closing again, we have no way of controlling our descent, meaning that if the island should fall, everyone on them will die. 6 months ago, when the font shrunk the first time, I sent the champions to the ground to seek guidance from the Wizard King, our old enemy, who is now our closest ally. Altria is a very powerful nation in the center of all magical knowledge. If anyone would know what's going on with the fonts, it would be them. I have not heard from the champions in 6 months. You will go to the surface. Your objective is not to fix this problem, nor to fight any great evil that might be the cause of this, but to find your champions. Find them and bring them back to me so we can reassess. I don't have the troops to escort you. I don't have the money to help you out. What you do have is the pick of the armory. I will send 50 of my best Groznak with you along with Daruk. The rest I need here. And though it might seem large to you, it's not much in the grand scheme of things. I can only give you 10,000 gold to fund your journey. You must make it count. You will also have personal use of the only airship that we have. There is no more time. Ask your questions of me, and then you must go.
Is there a map? Do you have anything that we can, follow?
Yes, you do. Firstly, this is the map of the surface. The islands float all around, but generally, since it's coming close to winter, we're heading south across the Great Sea. Currently, we're about right here, but we're going to take an airship to the Boreos Confederation. That is Boreos. All of this is Altria. And that area is Diadem, which is a neutral kingdom. You'll be coming here, Port Folte, which is a city that is in the Altrian Empire, but independent from it. Diadem, Altria, and Boreos Confederation are all primarily human. You know, many years ago that the Altrians were the greatest threat in the world, and they're why we uprooted ourselves from the ground to escape them. The Altrians have two fonts, one here in Rookhaven, and the other here in Balsagard. I need you to get down to the surface. Our treaty with Altria says that we can legally enter the country at Port Fulte here. That's where you will go, that's where you'll be dropped off, and from there, you must make your way to Rookhaven or wherever the champions currently are. If you cannot find the champions, find the Wizard King. Ask him for his aid. See if he's had any fallout from the fonts closing as well. I do not need to emphasize how important your mission is, and failure could mean all of our doom. All of you are immediately sent to the armory. As you pass it by, you find that a chest filled with gold bars, equivalent 10,000 gold coins, has been loaded up and is moving to the Emperor's personal airship. There are only 2 airships in the entire world. Both were made by the Wizard King, and one he gave to the Emperor as a gesture of goodwill, in order to smooth things over in the peace. When you get down to the surface, this will be pretty much your only way to and from the islands in the sky. Bennett has made trips to the surface before, especially to drop off the champions, so as long as the airship is intact, you will be able to get back to Veridinth, where the Emperor in the Sky lives. With that, you have your pick of the armory. The Groznak sword that you once used as a loner, Dragonbeard, is now yours again to keep this time. Paulus, what weapon will you take with you to the surface?
I think I'm gonna stick with my warhammer.
You can have it. Skyla?
I'm obviously going to take my staff and my small sword. Are there any slingshots?
There are many things in the Emperor's armory. There's longbows, short bows, slings, crossbows, whatever you want, it's there.
I'll stick with the slingshot just because I don't want to carry too much.
You've got a slingshot and you have a pouch of 20 small rounded stones. In addition to that, there are 2 small stones with a red etching on them. They're not very powerful, but they do explode on contact. Diana.
May I have a short bow? And I think that's it. I'm going to stick with my long sword and a short bow.
And you have a quiver of 30 arrows. In addition to that, you also have a single barbed arrow, which will do bleed damage if you successfully pierce enemy armor. With that, you gather your weapons and you head back out to the Emperor's throne room. And before him, he has 4 bundles. This is a very important mission. What I found when I was but a young dragon, junior in the ranks of the Groznak, I found it helpful to have something that reminded me what I was fighting for. In each of these bundles, I think you shall find something important to you. Skyla, as you approach your bundle, it's a small thing, but in it, you find a small crystal, which you know can be ground down to make shoshish. And inside this vial of clear liquid, you notice this distinct sulfuric smell. This is to represent how far you've come with your addiction. It is suspended in a liquid that, if tossed, will create a great explosion. This is to show that your weaknesses can be turned into strengths. Use it well, my child. Dragonbeard, as you approach your bundle, you undo it, you find a small, enameled piece of a dragon egg. This is to represent what you have lost and what you are fighting for. Our entire species, besides those that have been stolen, all of our culture of 100,000 years is on these islands. Should you fail, all will be for naught. Nothing but fragments like you hold in your hand will remain. Remember your duty, Dragonbeard. Your success is worth more than your life. May the scales protect you. Paulus, as you approach your bundle, you open it up, and in it, a fang of a boar. And you recognize it immediately as a symbol of great honor amongst the Orcish civilization. To have a boar's horn carved out and made into a sounding horn, which can be used to signal, that's the sign of a war chief. It's a great honor. Remember that as great as you may be, you are nothing without your friends. You will need to find each other. Use this horn to call for aid. And for you, Diana, Well, I'll be honest, I had no idea what to give you until children from your hometown came here. Apparently spurred on by the daughter of a man that you saved from testifying in court. And as you unwrap your bundle, you find a fine, solid steel shield emblazoned with the emblem of your hometown. Remember all those you have already saved, for they will need to save you again. Hopefully, when this shield deflects a sword or an arrow, you will have the opportunity to tell them one day that they saved you in return. Remember where you are from, all of you. Remember what you are fighting for. I wish I could give you a day of respite. I wish I could tell you more. But your mission is far too important. If the fonts shrink again tomorrow, we will be that much closer to our doom. Now go. Deruk Nagamori, you have the command of the mission. But remember, the champions in training, they have the potential to be much greater than any of us. For my 50 Groznak that go to the surface, our race counts on you. Now go. Take the money, the weapons, the armor, your heirlooms, my soldiers, and my airship. Go swiftly and return to me with news of success. All of you bow. As you race down the hallway, all of you, for a brief instant, your vision flickers. You see ash and dust and soot. Only for a moment, and not for so long that you stop running. You ignore it and continue to the airship.
I was born